Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nobody But Essence with another vlog. This vlog was requested and it is, of course, relating to my flight attendants or aspiring flight attendants. We are gonna talk about reserve life as a flight attendant. So I have some notes on my phone so I don't leave out anything. And I'm gonna make it really quick so we can get straight to the point. All right, what is reserve? Reserve is basically two words: on call. All right, at my airline, we are on reserve for a straight year. So it does depend on the airline that you work for. We have wraps, we have rock, and we have standby. So you can be assigned to any of those on your reserve days. We are off 12 days a month. So when you're on straight reserve for your first year, you're always going to be on reserve. Unless you are scheduled off days on your 12 off days, obviously you're not on reserve. So on our schedule, and I'll let you see what my schedule looks like to kind of like show how it looks. So currently we are in April, if you can see that. Anything highlighted in gold, that means I'm off. It's an off day. Anything highlighted in green means that I worked a trip. Anything that is highlighted in blue means that I was either assigned a RAP, R-A-P, or a standby shift, or a ROC, R-O-C. And I do have a red there. That's only if you did not come to work, and that day I was not feeling well, so I called in sick. Keep in mind that when you call in sick, that is 1 point. And we do go by a point system at our airline. And when you are on probation, you really don't go by a point system. But they do allow you up to 2 points before a possible walk in the park to lead up to a termination, unfortunately. So I had 2 standby shifts in April, and then the rest of the working days I was scheduled RAP, R-A-P. We have 4 RAPs, which is RAP A, RAP B, RAP C, and RAP D. I'm now Charlotte based. I was Miami based, and I transferred to Charlotte on April the 1st. I'm a commuter, so it's better for my commute home to Panama City Beach. So Charlotte is also where my sibling lives, and my family's from North Carolina. My mother lives there, whole side of my mom's family. I used to live in Charlotte when I was little, blah, blah, blah. So I'm familiar with it, but it is an amazing location, base location for my commute to Panama City, Florida, where I live. So back to reserve, we have RAP A, B, C, D. They are 12-hour shifts. You can be on RAP at home, but you must be in base. So you can be at home, you can be chilling in your pajamas, but you must be in base. You can be at the movie theater, you can be at the bowling alley, you can be at the grocery store, you can go to brunch, but you must be in base. On RAP, you are on call, so you get a 2-hour in Charlotte call out time. In Miami, we got a 3-hour, and that is because we could possibly work out of 3 different airports. So they give you enough time to report and sign in. In Charlotte, we only work out of 1 main airport, which is the Charlotte Douglas International, and we only get 2 hours from the call time from crew scheduling for our assignment to report to the airport and be signed in for our trip and ready to go. We have to sign in 1 hour prior to departure. So if your departure is 3, you'll have to be at the airport signed in by 2. And you sign in on your mobile device, or you will sign in on the device that we are assigned during training, and we always have to have. All right, so wrap, rock, or standby, 12-hour shift. Standby is the 6-hour shift. Standby is a little different. So if you are assigned standby, you will start at the airport. So they will assign you standby the day before, and it can be at 4:30. Earliest is 4:30. So they can assign you 4:30 a.m. standby, but you'll know the day before. But you have to be there at 4:30 signed in. Then you will wait either wherever you want to wait inside of the airport, at the crew lounge, at Starbucks, at the gate, terminal, wherever you want to sit at, until they call you with a trip. So basically you're either filling in for a flight attendant, or you are filling in for an actual crew that timed out, or that was unable to make that trip. So they will call you standby. You have to be ready. You have to be in uniform. You have to have everything. You have to be near, and whenever they call you, you have to go. So you are standing by at the airport ready, because it's in an immediate position for you to fill. You don't get 2 hours. You don't get none of that. You get however long time it takes you to walk to that gate and scan in your badge for that flight. The good thing about reserve is you can get pretty good trips on reserve. That's why people do like reserve, because you can be in Paris somewhere in Europe because someone wasn't able to make it, or a crew member timed out, or a crew timed out, and they're not legal to fly anymore for the rest of that day. So a lot of people do like reserve. Even the senior people who have lines, they bid for reserve. Like, they want reserve month or reserve time. Once you get a line, you are on a schedule that the airline has already created for you. But it also gets better, because you can pick and choose, and you can fly to the same destination every single month if that's what you want to do once you get the line. After 1 year as a flight attendant at our airline, you go on reserve 1 month, and then you're off reserve, and you have a schedule, and then you go on reserve. So it's every other month. And then I think after like 2 or 3 years, you get 3 months off. 3 months off. Yeah, 3 months off, and you have a schedule, and then you get 1 month on reserve, 3 months off, 1 month on for like the rest of the years. So reserve life. Let's talk about off days. We bid for our off days. We don't always get them. We don't get the weekends off. We don't get holidays off. Any of that. You may get the weekend off, like a Saturday, when your seniority, as your seniority builds, but that's just something that you would have to like wait on a little bit. Not straight out of training into probation. You're not going to get that. Maybe 8 to 9 months in your first year, you may get a couple Saturdays off, because I've actually talked to a few flight attendants that have been there for a year, and they do happen to get off some Saturdays because their seniority has moved up. The more flight attendants they hire, it's gonna bump up your seniority. So you'll start seeing a little flexibility or whatever. But it can be a little hard. It depends on how many reserves they need for that day. And when you bid, you'll be able to see it. If the numbers are high, if they need 400, 300, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get that Saturday off. They need 170, 200, and your seniority is, a little up now, then you might just get that Saturday off, because they're going to call everyone below you. That makes sense. Reserve is not as flexible, so don't bank on making graduations or weddings or holidays or none of that. I get Fridays off, which is good, but it's okay. It's still a weekday. Typically, we get the weekdays off on reserve. As a commuter, I want to just throw this out there, because I'm a commuter. If you commute home, you have to be at base on your reserve day. There's no ends, ifs, or buts about it. It can get you fired. They don't like you being out of base because if they call you while you're on wrap and you're not there, there's going to be consequences behind that because it goes by a list. There's a way to check the list of the on-call wraps, wrap flight attendants that are on reserve. There's also a way to check the standby list of who's going to be called next if they need help within your 6 hours of standby or 4 hours. 4 hour standbys typically start later in the evening around like 8:30, and then they last till like 12:30 at night, because then that's when the flying starts to get like really slow, like the last flights of the night leave then. So they're not going to need you much more after 12:30, 12 o'clock. When you're on reserve and you're on wrap, you can call crew scheduling. Like if you haven't been called at all on your 12 hours and it's hitting like your 10th hour, you can call them and see if you can get released. Like if you were a commuter and you wanted to catch that flight to go home, you can call and get released. But I would say up to like 2 hours before your wrap time, so about 10 hours if you're just still sitting at home and you're far down on a list and you checked it, and maybe it might have been moving slow for you that day and they didn't really need you because you weren't good for a 3-day trip. You were only good for that one day and then you were off the next day. So they can release you so you can go ahead and go home, which is good because then you'll get that extra night there, which everybody loves. But if you're good for a 3-day, then obviously like you're not going to call to be released because you still have to be in base for those 3 days. So you can't go anywhere. What else? How do I feel about the reserve? I feel like the reserve is okay. They've been calling me. They've been having me on wrap a lot. And they call me at like 4:30 in the morning for like 6:45 departures, and I'm not a morning person, but this job has literally made me a morning person. It's taught me so much patience and how to be a palm tree. I was based in Miami, but like I said, the commute was a 2-leg commute just to get to Panama, which I never understood that it's North Florida and I'm South Florida, but I have to fly from South Florida to Charlotte to North Florida, or Miami to Dallas, all the way over here just to get back up into Florida at the top of Florida. So it was just taking up too much of my day, and I was like, you know what, let me get myself back to the mountains, back to the countryside, my stomping grounds, and I'm good. I'm just gonna see how this works out. And it's been working okay. Sometimes I'm not back on my trips, because Panama City only has so many flights leaving out a day, so you also need to check that as a commuter. So then I had to fly into Destin. So I've flown into Destin twice because Destin has the later flights and Panama seems to have the earlier flights. So I still make it here even though my husband has to drive a little bit to come and get me. But he has only drove one time to come and get me from Destin. So I'm just trying to see how like this is gonna balance out, because unfortunately like my trips, the sequences that they put me on, literally will get back into Charlotte at 3:30 p.m. when the last flight departs at 3:15, y'all. It just hurts my heart so bad, and I'm just like, damn, life as a commuter. So there is a commuter policy, but be careful because it doesn't cover everything, and you only get three little incidents on the commuter policy during probation. So they don't cover weather because they expect for us to plan before we go home and to look at the weather as a commuter. They don't accept weather cancellations or delays as a missed trip while you weren't back in base and there were no more flights going out. And they also don't cover the loads. So if there's too many people and there's no seats available for you and you happen not to get on the flight and that was the last flight, or you are not able to get rolled over to the next one and that was the last flight, you're going to get those points. They only cover mechanicals and cancellation, the cancellations from a mechanical. And you have to have 2 flights in between. So that means you need to be booking the first flight of the day. If there's three flights going out of your town, which is very like a small town, usually there's way more, at least like 7 or 8. But if there's 3, you need to catch the first one. You need to book the first one and be at the airport. If you don't get on that one, they'll roll you over to the second one. If you don't get on that one and this one gets canceled for some reason for the mechanical, then you're good. But that's the only way that it's going to work. If you book the second to the last or the last and you don't make it back to base because of a delay for weather or there were no more seats available, you're going to get that point. So, or those points with an S. Also, sick time, like I said, is 1 point. We do gain sick hours out of training, like while we're on probation. So, that's good. So always keep up with that. Other than that, like reserve is okay. Like I said, it's just that you never know what you're gonna get. The on calls can be early, and there are 12-hour wrap times, and there's standby, and you basically have no control over your life at all. The company has all the control over you, and that's just it. You get your off days, and you know sometimes those trips work out in your favor though. So I'm not even gonna lie to you, because it happened to me one time. Flex days and golden days at my airline. Flex days you can be flown into. Golden day you cannot be. The flex day usually comes before your golden day. If they fly you, if you're on a trip and you're 1 day good and they say, hey, we need you for this trip today, it's a layover, you're going to be flown into your flex day, usually you'll have those off. Then they'll give you that day right back, and you get to choose whatever day of the month that you want. Let me show you what I'm talking about really quick, and I'm going to wrap up the video because that's basically it. Reserve is just what it is. It's kind of like some military stuff, but let's see. So I'm going to flip my camera. Hold on. Okay, so just for an example, that's a flex day. So I actually worked on my days off here. So up here, I was off on the 6th and the 7th. This was a flex day, so it will say FD because that's what flex day is. That's the only day out of your off days that you can be flown into. So actually, this is a good example. On the 6th and the 7th, I was off. I had to report back to base on the 8th. They had me on Wrap C, which is late. So I got a trip extremely late on this day. I actually got it at like 9:30, but the departure was at 12 something. Anyways, went to New Orleans, and they told me that they were going to have to fly me into my flex day because it was leaving. The departure was so late that we were going to lay over in a hotel for like 5 hours. And then once I got back, I was released. So I actually got to go home because we got back at like 10:30, and I caught the flight leaving at 11:30 or something like that to Panama City Beach. I chose Saturday off. My husband has Friday and Saturday off, so that was perfect for us. So that was my first Saturday off. I never get it off, see? I never get Saturday. If you go back to last month, I never get Saturdays off. All of those are white and green and blue. Only days off are yellow, because you never get the weekends off. But I got Saturday off because they flew me into the flex day, which was this, like up here. And then I chose to be off, and they changed it for me. And my golden day was on the 8th, so yep. These 2 days I was on wrap and I wasn't used because there's no green there. But the blue is there, there's green there. I hope this helped, guys. I will see you on the next video. Thank you for leaving the comment to make this video. And I wish you guys all the best becoming flight attendants or just graduated. And I will talk to you guys soon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment if you want another video. Thank you, girl. Thank you, miss, for requesting this video because I needed to get it out. So let me know what you think. Definitely reserve life. It doesn't last forever, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do. It's a unique job, so definitely comes with sacrifices and moving on up. Bye, guys. Until next time.